Weakest hero gains cheat level system and becomes strongest hunter. Hey guys, it's Cody. Welcome back to Animerecap Marathon. Today we have the highly anticipated solo leveling. Let's get it started. The story begins with a flashback on an island where people are in a life or death battle against these giant ants. And I mean, they really got wrecked. They really stood like no chance. It was kind of pathetic. The hunters seem to have no chance against these ants until the S-rank hunters show up. The S-rank hunters save the weaker hunters, while one of the S-rank hunters heals the wounded. Two more S-ranks dispatch the ants with ease, one using lightning and the other ripping the ants apart with his bare hands. It was pretty sick. We cut to another S-rank hunter who is called Guildmaster Choi by some fodder hunters. Choi burns the ants with some type of fire magic while the fodder hunters charge them. We learned 10 years ago gates started appearing all over the world that would link to an alternate dimension. These dimensions containing creatures called magic beasts. Only certain people who awaken as hunters can fight the magic beasts, though. The hunters have magical powers and their rank is based on the amount of magic power in their body. Ranks are from E being the lowest to S the highest. S rank comes with fame, fortune, and power. Once awakened, no amount of training can increase your rank or strength. We then cut back to the present where some hunters are meeting up for a raid. We meet our hero Sung Jin-woo. At first, it seems like he's popular because everyone's greeting him. But then we find out he's so fucking weak that his nickname is the weakest hunter of all mankind. He is an E-rank hunter and absolutely hopeless. People are only excited to see him because they assume if he's called for a dungeon, that means it's probably easy. Sung runs into Ju-hee, who is also on the raid team. She's concerned about Sung because he's injured. He tells her it happened in an E-rank dungeon. Everyone was a higher rank than him, so they decided not to bring a healer, which ended up with him being the only one hurting in the hospital. Ju-hee says they were being selfish by not bringing a healer, but Sung says it's also his fault for being so weak. We meet the leader of the raid team, Song Chi-yul, and the rest of the fodders. Song is the strongest person there is, so the fodders are fine with him leading. They head into the dungeon, and Sung is told to stay behind and try not to get hurt. Sung laments that all he has is a cheap knife with barely any magic power to it, but it's all he can afford. We cut to a different scene with a character named Chairman Go. We learn how the government pushes the hunters to raid dungeons so they can collect materials. Back in the dungeon, Sung has collected one fucking E-rank essence stone, and then almost dies to a goblin after his knife breaks. Ju-hee is able to heal him, and the rest of the raid team defeat the other magic beasts and the dungeon boss. Ju-hee is upset with Sung for getting injured and tells him he needs to worry more about himself. Even though the dungeon boss was defeated, the dungeon hasn't shown any signs of disappearing. One of the fodders find a path that leads deeper into the dungeon. They come to the conclusion that it must be a double dungeon. It's something that's not very common, and they have to defeat another dungeon boss in order to complete it. Song, the leader of the raid, says they're supposed to report this to the Hunters Association, but they are some greedy fodder who want the rest of the loot first so they can put it to a vote. The vote is split even, as Sung is a tiebreaker, and obviously the guy who almost died to a fucking goblin votes yes, so they proceed. To be fair, he needs the money to pay for his sister's college and his fucking mom's medical treatments, but also his knife just broke. Back at the Hunters Association, we see some newly awakened hunters being evaluated for their rank. We learn the hunters are scouted by guilds, and we see Guildmaster Choi again. He then tells one of his scouts age and gender does not matter as long as they can get useful people, although none of them will be able to compare to Cha-hei. We are introduced to Che and her big bubble butt as she stops a robbery but runs away because all the attention she attracts being an S-rank hunter. Back in the dungeon, Sung, Ju-hee, and the other people we don't care about continue further into the dungeon. Sung apologizes for voting to go deeper, and Ju-hee says, "I wish you would vote to go deeper in me." But she does criticize him because all he does is get hurt, and if he really is sorry, he should take her out on a date. Sung is thankful for having her around because she is a B-rank healer. I wonder if they will ever get to that date. B-rank healer, but he got some A-rank fuck-ups, I'll tell you that much. They then come across a giant door and decide to push forward. We then cut back to some of the new hunters while they watch an initiation video from Chairman Go. He says if you want to survive in the dungeons, you should always be afraid. The raid team enters the room in the dungeon and it's filled with the giant old-looking statues. One of them is way bigger than the rest and seems like a lord or king. They find a magic circle and a tablet with instructions written on it. Joo-hee says the really big statue's eyes moved, but Sung says she imagined it. Once they read the tablet, the doors close. One of the fodders who voted not to go tries to open the doors and is immediately sliced in half by one of the statues. Panic ensues. Sung now realizes he is the weakest person there, and that guy was killed in an instant. He is absolutely fucked. He looks back at the giant statue and its eyes move directly towards him. His observation hockey from being in life or death situations tells him what the giant statue is about to do, which is shoot lasers from its fucking eyes. Not sure how that works. He yells for everyone to duck, but some of the fodder still get caught. None of them expected this, and now death is certain. It is pandemonium. How many fodder characters have we lost already? 2. I think it's 2. The statue just fired off a giant laser eye attack. Everyone's freaking out. Joo-hee is stuck in a fetal position, and Leader Song tells everyone not to fucking move or they'll get killed as well. They're literally just arguing in this life or death situation. It's pretty funny while the statue is just chilling. Song thanks Sun Jun for yelling out, which saved their lives. Your boy notices he ain't got no arm. Oh my God. He just one ribbon, a little piece of cloth around his arm, and he's fine. Your man's not in shock. He's totally just calmly explaining what's going on. Minus one arm. It's amazing. Sung-ju says that he's fucking felt it was dangerous and it was a smart thing to do. Like I said, observation hockey. So now Sung becomes the Shanks of the show. Episode 1, One Piece. Already a classic. We learn Joo-hee only takes low-ranked dungeons because she doesn't have any balls to handle tough situations, which explains why she looks like she's in a grizzly bear attack video. Mr. Song says he's been through a few B-rank dungeons, and that statue shooting Superman lasers is at least A rank or maybe even S rank. Which is like, they couldn't even chip, they could barely kill like goblins and shit, and this thing's made of stone, and it's like animated. Good luck, dude. Remember, Song is the strongest person there. They're absolutely fucked. He has one arm. One arm! Then they notice the commandments on the tablet, and then they start to read them off. First is revere God. Second is praise God. I'm telling you, man, this guy's got kinks. That's not normal. Third is prove your faith to God. Hot, honestly, just hot. So the God they're talking about must be the giant statue that's fucking beaming holes through these motherfuckers. Can I just say how sick that thing looks in some of the scenes, especially when he like grimaces? It's like so foreboding. It looks insane. I remember reading it and it was just so cool. Anyway, we go back to a school scene. 2 of the female classmates are talking. One of them is Sung's sister, Sung Jin-ah. She asks her classmate why she was late to class. The friend asks about her brother and if he is a hunter. Jin-ah says her brother's an E-rank trash hunter who's dumb as fuck and always getting hurt. Her friend says that she can do an even better job. There's a lot of haters in this anime for no reason. So then we're back in the dungeon, baby, and we got our first casualty of the episode. Fodder number 3. He's confident in his running skills, uses some type of wind magic, and bolts straight for the door. Ironically, he gets eye pew-pewed, and all that's left of him are those fast little feet up to his ankles. They realize that the god statue could easily kill all of them if it wanted to, so there must be some way for them to survive, right? Sung asks Mr. Song what was the first commandment. Song tells him to revere God. Something in Sung's head clicks. He takes a chance and stands, and the statue charges an eye blast, but Sung immediately lowers his head, and the attack powers down. Sung then tells everyone to revere means that they need to bow down to the god statue itself. Makes sense. The statue accepts their reverence, and his creepy little smile appears on his face. When the god statue stands and begins to walk toward them, everyone looks to Sung on what to do next, but he's lost as well. They need to figure out what praise God means. Just then our next fodder sacrifice walks up. He gets on his knees and begins to pray to the statue as it walks towards him, but the shit don't work, and he's crushed under the giant foot of the statue. Rumbling, rumbling, it's coming. Fucking Attack on Titan style. They decide to spread out to make it even harder for them to get whack-a-moled. Park, the man coming out of retirement to make money for his family, runs up to one of the guard statues and turns his back. We lose our first fodder with a name after the statue slices him in half. Sung is still trying to figure out how to praise the god statue, and really it's practically a devil. He notices that not all the guard statues are holding the weapons. Some of them have instruments. By the way, while he is having his inner monologue, one of these guys are getting slaughtered just by one of the guards, and he's just going to throw that right in there. Yeah, that guy's dead. Sung tells everyone to run to the instruments. Not sure how he's figuring this shit out. Mr. Song makes it to the angelic statues first, and then it starts to blow its horn. He then confirms that it's safe and just repeats what Sung already yelled. Sung and Joo-hee make it to the instrumental statues, but won't play because they're both standing there. Sung leaves to find his own statue, but is attacked by one of the guard statues on the way there. The statue slams down its shield and hits Sung. The giant statue walks towards Sung while he crawls over to the final instrument statue. He makes it at the last second and the god statue returns to his seat. They have now completed 2 of the commandments. That fucking sucked. Joo-hee runs to Sung's side, and we see he lost a foot when the statue with the shield hit him. Jesus Christ, guys. Y'all are just losing limbs. That's a total of 3 feet just hanging out in that room, not attached to people. Joo-hee tries to heal Sung, but she overuses her power and starts to cough up blood. And now it's time to play the blame game, apparently. Fingers get pointed at Mr. Song, who gets blamed for leading them into the room even though they put it to a fucking vote. The god statue then raises his hand and an altar rises in the middle of the room. It's time for the final commandment, y'all. They think it means that they have to sacrifice someone at the altar, and Kim nominates Mr. Song because he's the reason that they are there in the first place, right? Song says fuck it and just walks to the altar himself like a fucking G with one arm. He makes it to the altar and a flame lights up, but then nothing else happens. Song asks 2 of the fodders to take him to the altar so he can inspect it. When the 3 of them arrive in the circle, 3 more flames pop up around them. Then Mr. Song says it's been 7 days since the gate opened, so they're probably fucked. We learn that other than making money, hunters have to enter these dungeons and defeat the dungeon boss before 7 days pass. Otherwise, the gate opens up all the way and the monsters can cross over into the real world. Which means the god statue will be able to cross over if they fail. Sung tells Kim and Joo-hee that they need to enter the circle to light up the rest of the flames. All the flames that are lit representing each person around the altar, and then more blue flames light up around them. The doors open and the blue flames start disappearing like it's counting down from something. The guard statues start to move toward them. Sung realizes that as long as they keep their eyes on the statues, they won't move. One of the fodders holding Sung up immediately folds and starts taking off for the door. She makes it out, and one of the orange flames disappear, causing the door to close a little bit more. Sung theorizes that it's probably a trap testing their faith in the god statue. If they wait for the timer to run out, will they be safe? Or should they escape while they can? Either way, if the door closes a little each time someone leaves, that means they can't all escape, right? The other fodder holding up Sung folds like a fucking chair, throwing him down and running for the door. Sung tells the 3 remaining that they have to stay, otherwise they will leave blind spots. If they're waiting for the blue flames to die out, they will be safe. Kim ain't trying to hear none of that shit. He tells Sung that it's just a guess, and he didn't even expect Sung to get him this far. But he has people at home that he has to return to. Mr. Kim runs away with tears running down his face and shit running down his pants, leaving Sung, Joo-hee, and Mr. Song. Mr. Song tells Sung and Joo-hee to run and leave him behind. What a goddamn man. Joo-hee has to carry Sung out, but she collapses to the ground because she used too much energy trying to heal Sung's leg. Sung tells Mr. Song that he has to be the one to stay behind. Joo-hee tries to argue, but he knocks her the fuck out, dude. Ain't no argument here, baby boy. They finally make it out alive, and Sung is the one left behind. He says at least only he has to die. He picks up a sword and tells the statues to fuck off. He will take at least one down with him. Yeah, fucking right, my guy. He's absolutely flung around the room, lamenting how he's been so weak, how hard he's worked up to this point, and this is what it all adds up to. He loses an arm and is impaled. I mean, they're just giving these limbs away, dude. Sung reminisces on Mr. Kim's last words before he ran out shitting his pants, calling him a selfish bastard because he has a family too. The statues continue to beat and torture Sung.
He's flung all the way to the top of the altar. And as one of the statues is going in for the final swing, at the last moment, the final blue flame goes out. We don't see if Sung is killed, but a game text box pops up. It says Secret Quest, Courage of the Weak with a checkbox next to it. And another one pops up. You have acquired the qualifications to be a player. Will you accept?
Sung wakes up in the hospital. Most of his injuries have healed, and even his arm and legs have returned as if nothing ever happened. He questions if it was all a dream. Two government-looking officials walk into the hospital room. One of them introduces himself as Wu Jinchul, manager of the Hunter Association surveillance team. They tell Jinwoo that he's been unconscious for 3 days straight. He's informed that Mr. Song and Ju-hee may quit being hunters due to the physical and mental injuries they've sustained. Wu Jinchul tells Jinwoo that only 6 of the 12 members of the expedition survived, making it an unprecedented tragedy. When Jinwoo was discovered by the White Tiger Guild, there was no trace of the temple or statues left. Had it not been for matching stories of the survivors and the bodies found in the dungeon, Jinwoo and the rest of the expedition would be under suspicion themselves. Jinchul asks Jinwoo if he underwent a second awakening. On rare occasions, a hunter can go through a second awakening when they rise to a higher rank, such as A or even S rank. Jinwoo is excited at the idea of being stronger than before. They measure Jinwoo on a device called a manometer, but his mana registers as a measly 10. E-rank hunters' mana level average at least 70, so it seems he is even weaker than before. The two men leave the room and tell Jinwoo they must have been wrong. Sung questions why they didn't ask about the giant blue text box hovering over him. While Jinwoo tries to figure out the mystery text box, his sister Jin-ah shows up. She tells Jinwoo he needs to start taking better care of himself. Yeah, pretty sure everyone has told him that. Jinwoo asks Jin-ah, how do you open unread messages in a video game? Because she has experience playing games. So we're supposed to believe this kid never picked up a controller in his entire life? Jin-ah tells him he needs to open his message box. A notification pops up saying he has a daily quest called Strength Training. Jin-ah says her brother seems fine and walks out of the room. Her friend Song-yi is waiting outside and they leave the hospital together. Back in Jinwoo's hospital room, he now has notification boxes opening. They tell him he is a player, and the system is designed to assist in the development of the player. Failure to comply with the system may result in a penalty, and lastly, rewards have been delivered. He accepts the strength training quest, and it is literally the One Punch Man training regimen. 100 push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and a 10K run. Jinwoo is skeptical of all of this and pretty much says fuck that and falls asleep, even though there was a penalty warning from earlier. And as he falls asleep, a timer starts to count down. Jinchul contacts Chairman Go to let him know Jinwoo is still weak as fuck. Chairman Go says they are lucky that this incident didn't result in an entire dungeon break. They establish that the double dungeon like this has never happened before. It should be established as a special case and investigated further. At the Hunters Guild headquarters, Guildmaster Choi tells the S-rank hunter Che that he would like for her to lead a B-rank dungeon raid as an instructor. Miss Che is reluctant because she is unsure of her abilities as an instructor. Choi tells her she just needs to fight as usual, allowing new recruits to learn from her battles. We learn the Hunters Guild is one of the 5 largest guilds in the entire country, but on an international level they are insignificant. It's important for them to hone their battle skills to make up for the fact that rank and power cannot be increased. At some time during the night, Jinwoo is awakened by the room shaking. He failed to complete his strength training and is transported to another dimension. He finds himself in a sandy, desolate desert. He has to survive 4 hours while being attacked by giant red Gyarados. He has to run and evade the constant attacks coming from underground. Back in the hospital, the nurses search for the missing Jinwoo. He actually manages to survive the 4 hours and is transported back to his hospital room. He then receives a reward from the system for completing the penalty request. We switch to Ju-hee, who is being recruited for a D-rank gate that recently opened up. She's hesitant because she is still traumatized from the events in the double dungeon. Ju-hee is informed that Jinwoo is awake, and that changes her whole mood. She decides to go visit him in the hospital. When she arrives, she sees 2 nurses watching Jinwoo run outside. They talk about how fast he's recovered after working out these last few days. Juhi decides to leave instead of talking to Jinwoo. Jinwoo says he's learned that the messages are not a hallucination. Yeah, no shit. If he completes a daily quest, he gets 3 types of rewards. A full recovery that heals him and recovers his stamina. He gains ability points he can distribute to stats such as strength, vitality, and agility. And an item box that gives him 1 random item. He even has skills. He proclaims his life is just like a game. The item box he opens reveals a key to something called an instance dungeon. Jinwoo visits his mother, and we learned 4 years ago she was diagnosed with eternal sleep disease after passing out at home. Jinwoo was forced to get a job to pay for their living expenses and his mother's treatment. Around the same time, Jinwoo awakened as a hunter. He thought this was his chance to make more money, but he ended up being weak as fuck. Every dungeon raid he joined, he was useless, barely making any contributions, leading to a low cut on the loot. He accepts that he is given a new opportunity to take care of his family. He chooses to put all the ability points into strength. Smart man. Jinwoo arrives at the location of the incense dungeon. Once he enters, the door closes behind him. It is a dimension cut off from the real world. The only way to leave is to complete the dungeon or use a teleportation stone. He questions if he can beat a dungeon boss on his own. He's then attacked by 3 goblins. He remembers how much trouble he had with one back in the double dungeon, almost dying. This time he doesn't have a healer to save him either. He is able to dodge and block the attacks until he takes out one of the goblins. Now, with renewed confidence, he dispatches the other 2 with ease. Before Jinwoo could enjoy this small victory, a red wolf with a metal jaw jumped out and attacked him. Jinwoo could tell this wolf was too powerful for him. It leapt towards Jinwoo and broke his knife with its metal jaw. Jinwoo's legs shake with fear. He is unable to run away. Is this the end for him already? Tune in next time for an episode of Dragon Ball Z.